So I've been there. You work at a job that you can't stand and you just want to do music for a living. So on your days off, you're doing countless of hours of music production just so you could quit one day and do it full time. And the obvious point is that being a creative is hard. There are inconsistent paychecks and the struggle to pay rent each month can get really stressful. I remember when I moved to LA, one of the meals I had was just tortilla and ketchup because that was all I had in my fridge and I was trying to save every single dollar. But fast forward to now, I'm able to live a little more comfortable. I grew my artist page, I got songs on TV shows and commercials, and most of all, I get to work when I want. In no way am I making bank, and some months are still kind of stressful. But overall, these are some of the ways that got to where I am now. So here are 4 life-changing ways I make money as a music producer. So one of the first ways I make money as a producer is an obvious one, which is producing for other artists. So this can range from mixing, mastering, and production, but as a producer, you're in charge of like the instrumentation, the arrangement, and the sonic structure of the song. And by providing a production service, you can charge what's called a producer fee. You can also earn the back-end stuff like the publishing splits and the master percentage, depending on what kind of deal you have with the artist. So my goal as a producer is to fulfill the artist's vision and to give suggestions and advice along the way. So I see a lot of new producers who jump into this space just get too emotionally invested in the artist's song. Which is great because you care a lot, but at the same time, it's like your ego can get in the way of working with the artist. You know, you don't want to get to the point where you're fighting over small things just to prove that you know more about producing than the artist. At the end of the day, the artist's name is going to be on the song. Yes, your name will be on the back end of the credits, but since they have to live with the song as their artist name, I truly believe that they have the last call. But again, that being said, don't be afraid to like speak out, say your suggestions, give advice, trying new things and instruments, and basically not being afraid of saying what you want to say. So if you want to start producing for other people, I highly suggest getting like a SoundCloud link together to showcase what kind of production you have, what kind of songs you could do, genres. I'll also follow like up-and-coming artists that, you know, I'm super into, like on Instagram, and just DMing them and starting a dialogue there about how you're a producer and how you want to, you know, produce for other artists, as well as, you know, going to shows and start doing stuff like that. Alright, so the next way I make money is through commercials and advertising. This kind of consists of 2 things. One is that you make custom music for a project that is due in a short time frame, and the next is having a catalog of music that gets licensed consistently. So I'll break those 2 things down. Have you ever wondered how you can make music for a car commercial? So it all starts with a client. Let's say it's Honda and they have a brand new car that they want to promote. They'll then go to an ad agency where they'll come up with ideas for a commercial. Then the ad agency will reach out to a production house where they'll request for custom music. And from the production house, sometimes they'll outsource freelance producers like myself to get the job done. And basically what I'll get is a brief where it'll kind of describe who the client is, the description of the commercial, references for what they want for music, the budget, and then the licensing term. It sucks because there's a lot of uncertainty and you're against so many other producers for that particular job, but the payouts can be from $3,000 to $15,000. Luckily, some of these projects offer something called a demo fee where it's a couple $100s and they'll pay for your time if you didn't land the project. But I do another thing so these songs don't go to waste or they just don't sit on my hard drive forever. But first, if you're finding value in this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would help me out so much. So the songs that don't land on these particular projects, instead of having them just sit on my computer, I'll funnel them through the next avenue, which is called music licensing. So these are like royalty-free sites that companies and content creators look for libraries of music based off of like genre, mood, tempo, instrumentation, all that kind of stuff. So they'll pay a one-time flat fee based on the license they purchase. And this matters because the rate can range from $50 from like a small YouTuber using it for their video, or $5,000 from like, you know, big companies that want to use it for a commercial. It all depends on the license. So the amazing thing about this avenue is that it's passive income, and depending on how good your catalog is, you can make a good amount of money. So the third way I make money as a music producer is through NFTs. And no, I don't mean like starting in your own collection or investing in any of them. So there are actually a lot of NFT projects that are building constantly, and they're putting out a lot of visual content through Twitter. And by reaching out to these projects, you can offer custom music that goes hand in hand with the visual content in exchange for money. So not only that, but for some bigger projects, I'll create custom music for free as fan art. And if they end up liking it, they'll just put me on the allow list, which then gives me priority access to then sell the NFT for a lot of money. So I know this is an incredibly risky space, but at the end of the day, I do see a demand for custom music in the NFT space. And I really think you could capitalize on that without getting too involved. So the next way I make money as a producer is creating your own artist project. So even as a producer, you can become an artist yourself. Some artists like Odeza, Miramasa, and RAC are some examples. And I understand that not every producer wants to be an artist, but this allowed me to give creative freedom for my own art, but also showcase what I could do as a producer. And if things start picking up, you could start making money off streams, remixes, merch, touring, and syncs. And if you have other artists feature on your songs, they might fall in love with your production so much they'll hire you to do their record. If you guys are interested in this method, I could break down like a video of how I started and what I did to market myself. So these are some of the ways I make money as a music producer. So my advice for getting your foot in the door is basically to have like an audio resume where you can just showcase what you can do. So if you have a bunch of songs that you already produced just for putting your hours in, I would organize each one in different genres just so you have playlists ready to send when people want to hear what you can do. On top of that, you should be reaching out to people on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and maybe the first couple times you don't charge as much, but once you develop more of a relationship, you then use that music that you produce with that artist and you keep building up your own resume using those songs, and it just becomes like a slow growing machine where as you work with more people, your resume starts getting bigger and better over time. I also highly recommend building a savings account because with a creative job like this, there's just so much uncertainty when it comes to income that just having some sort of buffer can definitely help for like slower months. You just never know what can happen, so I highly recommend doing that. So I hope that was helpful, and subscribe to my channel if you found value in this video, and comment below if you have any questions. But if you want to improve your production skills and work with more artists, I highly recommend this video where I talk about how I make a Steve Lacy beat. See you next time.